Have you ever coached or mentored someone who just wouldn't take action? It's like you see their potential, you pour into them, but nothing changes. Well, today we're going to talk about why that happens and, more importantly, how to unlock the desire in your team so they actually take action and grow.
Yeah, so let's first break down the word desire. When I really learned what this definition came from, it gave me so much freedom and just understanding there's a purpose, a huge purpose that we've all been given this gift of life and to really discover our purpose. So, desire comes from the Latin de, which meaning from, and sire, meaning father. So, at its core, desire means from the father. And historically, it's been implied that something is bestowed upon you. It's a calling or something is meant for you to seek. And so, not to make it religious, but from the Father. Like if you think of it like that, it's like it's a burning flame inside of you that you know it's something that you will put here on this earth to create. And so, desire just isn't random either. I truly believe, and I'm sure Lindsay does too. It's inherited. It's ingrained in you, and it's waiting to be awakened. But a lot of times what happens is people go through life and they never ignite that flame to have desire or show their desire.
Yes. And so, what's so interesting about the reason why people don't take action is because desire is usually that missing component. And so we really want to dive into like, where does desire come from? Because like Jen mentioned, the root word comes from the Father. Um, but we also want to know like, how can we create it on our teams, and then how do we awaken that growth in others? Because desire isn't just random. It is like Jen mentioned, it's something waiting to be awakened inside of you. And it's like when everybody is showing up asleep inside of the salon space, there's no magic being created. There's nothing incredible happening around you. It just feels like ho hum. We create that desire in others, and how can we help someone take action?
Yeah, I think about my desire and, growing up from a family that didn't have a lot of money, I think that's what sparked in me from that was like, I never want to live a life where I have to struggle with money. And so, like,
Mhm.
when I understood that my desire, was to create a life where I didn't have to struggle with money, every single action item that I've done since then has helped shape and create the life that I have now. And so, like, just knowing I don't want to go back to living that space. So, all the extra classes, all the extra teachings, all the extra uncovering and understanding of myself, like that really helped me to understand my desire and be clear about that desire. It's kind of like the same thing with a teammate. Like if you've ever been in a growth session with someone and you're coaching them, and then you set up a plan, an action plan, you think it's really great, and then they come back in like a month later, you're like, well, tell me about your action plan. How did you do with it? And they're like, yeah, nothing. And you're like, okay, well, I gave you some strategies. We role played it. We mapped out a plan, like nothing, like what happened? And so, the most important part of that is like they didn't lack the knowledge. They really truly lacked the desire. And it's hard to force desire. It has to be discovered from within. If you've ever done public speaking and you spoke to a group and, like more than half of the room is just standing there staring at you, it could be related because they don't have the desire to really uncover what their full potential is.
Yeah, I love that you said that because, that also reminds me of your example of being in a growth session, because it's like you can give everybody all of those tools. You can role play, you can map out the plan, have all those strategies in place. You can give the most amazing speech, in front of a group of people. But when there is no desire, it doesn't even matter. It's never going to be created. So how can you create desire on your team? One of the key things here is to help them see a bigger vision. So you've got to make it personal, because people don't move towards something vague. They need a clear and compelling vision. So, you can ask them a few powerful questions like, what does success look like for you? if I could wave a magic wand, where would you want to be in 3 years, or desire to be in 3 years? And what kind of a life do you want to create? And the reason why these questions work is when people see the possibility of something bigger, their desire grows. And so, same thing, you can also take this down, like those are some bigger future version or vision in mind. But like even thinking about small things, like if somebody wants to purchase a new car, they want to take a vacation, they want to do something like that, showing them, how, hey, having, okay, you want to take this vacation, okay, how much is it going to cost? Like maybe you come down to, it's going to cost $1,000 or $2,000, whatever it is. Okay, so that would be an additional $150 a month if you want to go in 9 months or whatever it would be. And so coming up with this vision and this plan, and then saying, okay, now how can we create that inside of your daily plan or your monthly plan or whatever that might look like? Because that's going to actually help create that change. Then they're going to start to see, okay, so this is like obviously what's in it for the guest when I make the proper product recommendations or service recommendations, is that the guest is excited and they can't wait to return and they have this transformation. But what's in it for the service provider to do that is like then they their own desires. Because what we know to be true is like when you help enough other people get what they want, you will naturally, as a byproduct, get what you want in return. But you have to help them unlock that desire. Otherwise, it's just all going to remain the same and be lackluster altogether.
So good. So another way to think about creating desire in your team, because it is possible, is to eliminate the fear of wanting more. I feel like many people hold themselves back because they feel guilty for wanting success. Actually, success, I read something, I can't remember what it said, but like success is the number one thing that most people are scared of. So they self-sabotage, and feel guilty for what they've created, and it keeps them stuck. We even have a podcast. I can't remember the name of the podcast, a couple episodes ago, where we did like a really cool guilt exercise that you can do with your team to help them eliminate some guilt that they may be experiencing, to clear the space to be able to offer new opportunities into their mind. And because the thing is, like, we go through life as humans, hearing things like money isn't everything, or be grateful for what you have, or success is selfish. And so when we think about, when we add story or meaning to every story, like we kind of flip the script on that. Instead of wanting more isn't selfish, it's a responsibility. And when you grow, you create opportunities for others. And that's the most beautiful part. When I was saying earlier about my childhood, is like, I knew I wanted to have that income because I wanted to make a big contribution in the world. And money was going to be one of the vehicles that I will be able to do that in. And so, like, it is so incredible of, listening to your team, understanding what they may be fearful of, and then helping them rewrite the meaning to the stories that they've created.
That's huge when you understand those beliefs that they have, and you help them rewrite the meaning to the story that they've created. I think that really can eliminate that fear of that people have of success. And also the name of that podcast that you mentioned, Jen, was, I think it was New Year, New Mindset, Letting
Yep.
Go to Grow. It's
Yes.
so good. The guilt exercise in there is incredible for your team, because a lot of times, like, people won't even let themselves desire when they do have that guilt sitting inside of their subconscious mind. And so when you're able to eliminate some of that guilt, it's like cleaning out your closet. Then you have room to take on something more, and to realize like, hey, I deserve to have desires. And, and having those desires really can help them get to the next level. I think another way that we can also, help them create desire is to challenge them with some accountability. So, you know, helping them understand that you believe in them, and helping them to set a goal that pushes them outside of their comfort zone. Because, when people start to see small wins, their desire grows. And so, pointing it out to them like, hey, I just want to point out, like, your paycheck grew, $200 over the last 2 weeks, or whatever it might be, like pointing out some of those wins, like, hey, your average ticket is growing. Hey, it looks like, whatever it is, like look for those key metrics that are pointing in the direction that what they're doing is working, and celebrate those small wins. Because when you help hold them accountable to living a better life and really, creating it into reality, their desire will grow, and they will want more things and want to contribute to the world in a bigger way.
I love that. They will want to contribute to the world in a bigger way. I love that. And
Mhm.
another opportunity too is like to lead with passion and great energy, because desire truly is contagious. Like if you see a success story of, someone taking something that's truly important to them and then creating something great with that, like it really is contagious. So, if you make it exciting about growth, education, and success, your team will be too. It'd be like going into a grow session and you'd be like, okay, so what numbers do you want to hit this month? I know nobody listening to this would say that, but like, what numbers do you want to hit this month? Okay, let's set your goals. But like to really get connected and show them the passion and to, like Lindsay was saying, looking at their wins and to help them see like, hey, look at the impact we're making here. Look at what you're doing. This skill that you challenged yourself with over the last 30 days is going to help you build the life that you want. And so I think as leaders and salon owners, we have to have that energy and passion, because everything is energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. We know that. And so it can just change form. And so like having that beautiful energy is only going to transfer to your team.
I love that, Jen. And, I think it marries perfectly with another thing that's super helpful when helping others create desire. And that's truly speaking to their identity and not just their skills, because people take action when it aligns with how they see themselves. So instead of just training people's skills, really work to shift their identity. So instead of like saying, hey, Jen, you should sell more retail, approach it like you are a beauty professional who transforms lives, and people trust you to guide them. Because what we know is when people believe they are meant for more, their desire follows. I think one of my favorite books that I've ever read that really talks, kind of to helping speak to people's identity, was written by Sarah Singer. And it was Sarah Singer Nori, I believe. And it's called Tap into Greatness, and I think one of the things that stood out to me in this book is, she changed this a certain school system inside of Chicago, where a lot of people's identities were that they, were high school dropouts, they hated school, all this stuff. And she just really, truly, to me, it was like she was speaking to their identity. She saw them all as tens instead of as twos when they walked in the door, and she spoke to them like that. So instead of like getting annoyed with your team because they should sell more retail and they're not, start speaking to them as if they do. And that is who you believe them to be. And really, you'll start to see their whole identity will shift too. I think this is the book is so good. I remember I gave it one time to one of my children's daycare providers, just because I saw, hey, here's a beautiful opportunity for her. She's getting to, transform lives. And if she sees, how important it is to speak to a child's identity, like everybody will transform in that situation. And so, I think that we have to remember, like, we too, as the salon owners, are in the business of transformation. We're in the business of transforming the lives of our team members and the way that they see themselves so that they believe they're meant for more.
Love that. I love that book too. That is a great book. If you haven't read that, a huge opportunity for you.
Mhm.
And so I think as salon owners, we have to remember is desire isn't something you can give. It's something that you truly help someone uncover. Remember, desire means from the Father. And so your team needs that vision. They need that permission to want more, those challenges, the energy, and the identity shifts to truly unlock their full potential. The seeds are already in there. Your job as a leader isn't to force it, it's to water it, to nurture it. And that's where you'll really create the environment for them to grow.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want some more helpful insights for your team or you as a salon owner, feel free to check out the show notes and send us a message or a text. You can also check out our new book, Think and Get Rich as a Beauty Pro. This will help your team really scale and learn the power of working together as a team to become a six-figure and beyond service provider inside of our industry. So thanks for tuning in. We can't wait to see you again.